You guys ready?
Yes.
All right. We're gonna get into general training here. So I want you guys. This guy's an MD. We got to get this guy to SMD, man. This guy's been an MD way too long. But knows his stuff. Knows his stuff and is committed to the crusade. He's got some really good stuff for you guys. So please give it up to MD Matt Chang.
Whoosh, boom, flip and shop. All right, so to get quickly situated, I'm going to need this space to kind of walk and talk. No, it's not connected. All right, cool. All right, how you guys doing?
Great.
You guys ready?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
All right. So, what I'm going to share with you guys tonight is really what we do out in the field. And I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to give you guys a couple tips and a couple nuggets, which, am I okay to give you guys value tonight?
Yes.
Okay, how many of you guys, I was kind of having this talk with Anthony and Alex and Vicky and Mozone earlier. How would you guys like to know how to literally kill a traditional advisor?
Literally kill?
Literally kill them out in the field.
Oh, okay. You say literally kill, I'm thinking like
Mentally?
Because, right, because
she went to jury duty for a murder trial. I don't want to literally kill anybody.
But you guys know we talk about teaching families about finance, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Now, and you guys are going to see a couple quotes here too, but I will tell you guys that if you understand the tax laws and how they work and why they work, you can literally make sure that you never lose a client, especially if you do your due diligence and follow-up. But what I go over tonight, you guys are going to get like, why didn't I think of this, right? And trust me, 10 years in, I'm still learning, right? So a couple things. Some books you guys want to get your hands on. Okay, so some of them I actually already have, right? Tax-Free Retirement, Retirement Miracle. Okay, Tony Robbins books, Money Mastering the Game and Unshakable. George Carlson's The Richest Man in Babylon, The Millionaire Next Door, and The Power of Zero. Now let me tell you the reason why you want to get your hands on these books. So you guys hear all the time why we need to read books, right, to self-develop.
Sir.
Okay. Your income will never outgrow your identity, ever. Look at anybody that works at a normal job. You notice they work at that same job for like 20, 30 years and they wonder why they only make 40 to 50 grand a year. They start working on this. As silly as that sounds, right? Because we're taught in a traditional society, oh, you need to go to school, get a degree to be financially successful. But yet pretty much most of America that do have degrees, they work for people that never got a degree. Case in point, Bill Gates, Microsoft, Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, Richard Branson, Virgin.
You
Right?
need to unlock your iPhone.
There you go.
So sorry.
No, it's okay.
You do.
Right? Now, here's the reason why you guys want to be, you want to read these kind of books, is this book in particular, The Power of Zero, I just finished reading literally today. It only took me a week to read this book. Now, how many of you guys write IULs? Should be everybody, okay? In this book, I will tell you, it can explain, like, have you ever got the question, so how do I take income tax-free from my policy? Right, you guys ever gotten that question before? I'll tell you guys, if you carry this book with you, you can literally show them how it works. Because sometimes people are like, I don't know. But if they actually see it in a book, they're like, oh, okay, it's for real, right? This book, and if you guys want a copy of this book, I actually have it in PDF. I can give it to you. And I highly suggest you read it. and here's the reason being. This book will literally teach you how to be in a 0% tax bracket. Because, I mean, who really wants to pay taxes when you retire? Now, don't get me wrong, there's a quote by a Supreme Court judge that says, everybody, yes, has to pay their fair share of taxes, but I shouldn't have to pay more than I have to. Does that make sense? You are gonna pay your fair share, but if you understand everything, it'll make sense. So you probably wanna write these two quotes down. Okay, first one, it's your fault when you win, it's your fault when you lose. Okay, and that's from Art Williams. If you don't know where he said that, it's in the book called Pushing Up People. Great book, I suggest you get it. I was lucky enough to find it on,
Yeah, I can't find that anymore.
it's very hard to find. I found it on Amazon. If you can find it on Amazon, it sells for like $100. I got lucky and I found it for, no, unfortunately. I was lucky enough, I found it for $15.
Which one?
Pushing Up People by Art Williams.
Say there's one that's like $22 or something.
Yeah. Okay, the other one, so what I've been saying a lot. The tax laws are there to make you rich and wealthy. You just need to learn how to leverage them in your favor. And it's true. Because really think about it. I'll tell you guys right now, if you guys understood taxes the way Nick and I and Alex and Dee do, you guys would pay a lot less in taxes. Literally. Okay. How many of you guys would like to know how to write off 30 to 40 grand on your taxes? Okay. Come talk to me. I'll show you how. It's actually not that hard. That's why I talk about you have to understand the tax laws, right? And now I'm going to show you guys the power of WFG and why we have such an advantage in the marketplace. And I'm gonna give credit to Reggie for this. This is a training he had done probably about 2 years ago. This shows the training program for all the big companies like Charles Schwab, Merrill Lynch, TD Ameritrade, right? In this case, this is Edward Jones, right? So look at this. Their development program is they're gonna target graduates 2 years out of school. They relocate you to either Arizona or St. Louis for 6 months of training. Employees pay for their own housing. Advisors focus on the 5 major themes: preparing for retirement, living in retirement, saving for education, estate planning, emergency savings. Look at their base pay. $30,000 to $35,000. You guys realize if you made part-time $2 grand a month in WFG, you make more than these guys. With a life license. You don't need to be 6 and 63 or 7 and 66. With a life and health license, you can already outpace these guys. Okay? Now look at this. Look at their training. They're matched with a financial advisor as your mentor. And look at this. You door knock for 6 freaking weeks. What do we ask you guys to do? A top 25 and 10 practice presentations. These guys got knock doors for 6 weeks. By the way, they actually have a quota every single month. If you don't meet the quota, you're kicked out of their program. Good luck working for them ever again. I mean, how many of you guys want to go through that program? Nobody, right? Now, let's look at the next one. HSBC. Okay, this is another big major bank in the country. Okay. They have different types of advisors. Their traditional financial advisor doesn't manage their own book of business. Bless you. Bless you. Works with clients with 5,000 to 100,000. But look at this. 1 to 2 financial advisors cover 20 branches. You guys want to know where the closest HSBC is to here? Closest one's Pomona.
Didn't they shut that one down?
No, it's still open.
Oh.
Right? Next closest one to that is Orange County. So imagine the area you got to cover if you're assigned a certain area. Right? If you're a premier relationship advisor, you have to have a Series 7 and 66, right? And you only deal with clients with 100 grand plus. How many of us does that leave out? A bunch of us, right? Your base pay is 70 to 100 grand, but you also have quotas, right? If you're a premier wealth advisor, you only deal with accounts $1 million and above. It's crazy, right? Next one, because I want to make sure I really spend a lot of time on the crusade. TD Ameritrade, different types of advisors. Financial advisor, $250,000 or less. Senior financial advisor consultant, 250 to 1 million. Bring in assets, get into managed accounts. Branch size range from 5 to 10 advisors. So imagine if you're here in Corona and you're in a branch with 5 to 10 other advisors, how many clients do you guys think you're going to be fighting for with $250,000 to $1 million? Maybe 10, maybe 15. And by the way, you still have quotas every single month, right? Private client advisor, works with clients $1 million and above, sits in a brick and mortar branch. So imagine you just sit in a bank all day, right? And he will service clients only within a 50-mile radius. Okay, Dee, Alex, how many miles is it from here to where you guys live? Probably about 30, 35? 37 miles. Okay, you guys know how far it is between here and LA? About 55 to 60 miles. Okay, so imagine 50 square mile radius. That's your coverage area. So that means for a lot of people, they can't go as far as San Diego. They can't go to like Lancaster. They can't go up to San Jose. You know, like in the Bay. The Bay's got a ton of money. You can't go up there because you're stuck to a 50-mile radius unless you're within 50 miles of that place, right? And some of these agents or these advisors, they get paid a base salary, but they take away that base salary as you make more in commissions.
Wow.
Right? And just so you guys know, State Farm and Farmers and Allstate is exactly the same way. They give them a $50,000 base, they give them an assistant in office, they have to work within that radius. They have 2 years to build a book of business. After that, they got to figure it out. Now, also too, I'm going to make one big point about this, is why WFG is so powerful is because we have a system and you have leadership. These companies, they really don't teach you how to build a book of business. They're like, here you go, Nick, figure it out. That's it, right? They won't teach you, okay, what's the proper script? How do I approach clients? Can I prospect outside of my branch? I mean, how do you guys go prospecting? Right? Go prospecting anywhere you want, right? I'll give you an idea. You get to a point where you've been here a while and you got a book of business. Some of us, you know, like myself, I have clients as far northwest as Santa Monica, as far south as San Diego. That's more than a 50-mile radius. That's a lot, right? And we're not confined to that. And if I ever have an issue, like when I was still part-time, I'd constantly be on the phone with Nick, hey, I ran into this situation, what should I do? Or what would you have done? And Nick more likely has run into that situation. And he can say, this is what I've done, or this is what I would have done. Guys, it's okay to ask your trainers questions all the time. Because guess what? We have a financial incentive to make you very, very successful at the end of the day, right? So it's perfectly fine to ask us questions. Now, if you have product-specific questions, use the dedicated lines for all the product carriers. You guys wonder how I learned that's what I did. I was writing Jackson when we could still do Jackson, right? Where the first time, Nick didn't even teach me how to close an annuity. I had to learn on my own. I just called the carrier to figure it out. And guess what? He still overrides me. Beauty of the business, right? Now, let's kind of talk about WFG versus traditional industry. Traditional advisors only care about assets and earning their trail commission. They rarely talk about life insurance. They don't talk about tax-free supplemental income. They don't take the time to educate a client on how money works. So think of it this way. A traditional advisor, they use a sales approach. They're like, all right, Anthony, you got 100 grand, this is what we're gonna do, you're done, out. Okay. Traditional advisors, all they care about, you're gonna wanna write this down, okay? All they care about is growing your money as much as possible so they get their trail commission. They don't care how much you're gonna get at retirement. They don't care about your distribution. You know why? Because they manage your assets anywhere between 1% to 3%. So for every $1 million, that's 10 grand a year that they're gonna get. You guys follow? So they know, imagine, to make 40 grand as a traditional advisor, they have to have $4 million under management. Minimum, at a 1% fee. I mean, guys, you can get your watch in WFG making $4 grand a month, helping clients save money in life insurance, right? Whereas WFG, we take an educational approach on when we sit down with a client and say, hey, this is where you're at. This is the different ways you can save and invest money. These are the deficiencies in your portfolio. These are my recommendations. By the way, guys, you don't have to be like, all right, it's one thing, not a one size shoe fits all like other carriers, like Primerica or State Farm or Farmers, right? You have a slew, you have a menu of products and services that you can give the client, right? And a few other things, they still have to cold call, they still have to door knock, they still have to advertise, right? With little to no support and no system, like I mentioned before. Now imagine, okay, everybody take out your cell phone. Okay, hold it up in the air. Okay, those are all your recruits and your clients sitting in your phone. Literally. The question though is, I forget who said this, they said it in an Elite Academy. I think it was Peter Lee. It's Peter Lee or one Heine. You know, just hit the green button. I think it's one Heine now that I think of it. Just hit the green button. What's the worst thing that can happen? They tell you no. Or they might say, give me another year, give me 6 months, right? I'm gonna give you guys a quick script that you're gonna wanna write down that'll really catch the attention of people. And by the way, it's straight out of this book. Okay? If I could show you how to maximize your retirement savings and minimize your tax liability when you retire, would you give me 30 minutes? Okay. If I could show you how to maximize your retirement savings and reduce your tax liability when you retire, would you give me 30 minutes?
Tax what, Matt?
Tax liability. And if they're a little, well, I don't know, okay? I literally, and I talk about this in the presentation room, I literally hit them with $1 million question. It literally is $1 million question. Okay, if you have $1 million in your 401k, do you know exactly what your tax bracket is going to be? Could you tell me exactly what that number is going to be? So why are you so comfortable putting money into an account that you have no clue what your taxes are gonna be when you retire? I think that's the reason why we need to talk. Because unless you love paying taxes, by all means, keep doing what you're doing. But I'm just trying to help you pay less in taxes. Can I help you do that? Okay. I'm sorry, Nisa?
Repeat the second question after the give me 30 minutes.
Oh.
If you have $1 million in
Oh, the $1 million question. Yeah. If you have $1 million in your 401k or your IRA, do you know exactly what your tax bracket is going to be when you retire? And I want you guys to keep something in mind. And this leads to a different talk, which I can't talk about because I don't have enough time because it's really long. Right now, historically, we're at the lowest tax rates. Because in 2018, they did the tax, the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. So they lowered all the tax rates. By the way, we know exactly the day they go back up. You guys wanna know when? January 1st, 2026. The tax rates will go back up to pre-2018. Well, my phone's recording. I have a chart on my phone that shows the tax rates before 2018 and as of the tax reform. You guys wouldn't believe how big the jump is. Like, right now, if you made between 135,000 to 250 grand, you're in a 24% tax bracket, federal. If we go back to pre-2018 If you make between 130 and 160, you're automatically in 28. Now, 4% doesn't sound like a lot, but think about that extra 4% that you're gonna have to pay on that 401k when you retire. I mean, think about what's 4% of a million? About 4,000 extra a year that you gotta pay, right? So that's why right now, you should be telling everybody, hey, we're at the lowest tax rates right now. Let me show you how to put money into an account that you can prevent paying higher taxes in the future. You guys should be writing that down. You should be saving money right now into an account so that you prevent paying higher taxes in the future. Like, if you guys are following me on Instagram, have you guys noticed I'm talking about a lot more about taxes lately?
Yeah.
And it's because of that book. I've gotten hit up by 3 different people already, just on social media. They're like, dude, what are you talking about? And you know, it's funny, I kind of let it sit and simmer, and they send me a separate message. They're like, dude, why did you message me back? Because I want them to really think about, like, okay, what's Matt really talking about? Because in all reality, a lot of people don't understand how the tax system works, right? Yeah, I know, right?
Mike, can you repeat that one more time?
I'm sorry?
Can you repeat it one more time? You should be saving money.
You should be saving money now, right, into an account that'll prevent you from paying higher taxes in the future. Okay, now, here's the reason why we win in WFG. We educate on life insurance, retirement planning, long-term care planning, LTC, right? Having emergency fund, college funds, getting out of debt. You guys realize a traditional advisor, all they care about is retirement planning and college funds. They really don't talk about anything else. Even if they advise you to put money into a mutual fund, they don't make that much in a fee, right? But just imagine, they don't talk about having proper amount of life insurance. I've talked to guys that like Edward Jones and TD Ameritrade, they're like, yeah, we never talk about life insurance, not even term. You know the reason why? They're not life insurance licensed. They only carry a securities license. And those guys think they're gonna make a bulk of their money with a securities license? No. I mean, you get somebody like an Alex and Dee Dee, just with their life and health license, they're crossing 6 figures. For years already. Years. And they have the same license as all of us. The difference is, they're just using it to their advantage. Like, you guys gotta realize that license you carry will make you more money than any doctor, PhD, Supreme Court judge. They'll make you more money than any of those people. No offense to them, but just imagine you don't have to go spend 10 years in med school, spend $250,000 in student loans to just go make 150 to 200 grand a year. I mean, you guys can do that in WFG with a $400 investment. Are you freaking kidding me? From the day you sign your AMA, do your pre-licensing, passing the test, all together. By the way, we have the reimbursement program. Person's only really out $100 if they follow our reimbursement program. Like, are you kidding me? $100 and I can go make 150, 200 grand a year? Yeah, you can. All day. And for those guys that went to convention, you saw it all day. All day. You know the only difference between us and them? They just have a bigger team. That's it. They just have a bigger field force of people going out and helping other people. That's it. All you have to do is have the license and be at a higher contract, you override those people. That's why you get into business, right? For profit. But how you can make a lot of profit is from helping a lot of people, right? Now, let's talk about the traditional industry versus us, right? Or how we do things. But how's it that we don't have to do what the traditional industry does? Because we teach you how to build your business within a hot and warm market. That's the secret, right? Nick was talking about this Monday morning in Full Timers. It's getting a new recruit and then tap rooting them right away, and then getting into their market, right? And you just do that over and over and over and over again, right? Now, also too, the reason why we do it that way, it's the fastest, easiest way to train you, give you experience, exposure, and help you receive referrals. Remember that your family and friends don't see you as a financial professional. That's why edifying your trainer is so important. You guys realize that you guys that are still in training, if you ask me, 99% of your appointment is how you edify your trainer when you walk through the door. Right? It's kind of like saying, because Nick was my field trainer, and when I'm introducing him, I'm like, he's the Michael Jordan of basketball, and he's going to teach you about basketball. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You make your trainer look like a big freaking deal because they are. And because of Nick is everything that I have right now. Everything I learned because of the system, how we recruit, how we go out and help families, and how we field train our agents, it's all because of him. Because of the system and the leadership. Traditional advisors are still trying to figure it out. They will never know what it's like to have a coach or a mentor help them get to a whole nother level. Right? Nick talks about a story about Alex and Dee Dee when Dee Dee was scared to sit in the appointment, the training appointment with Victor and Adriana. And they're best friends, 20 plus years because of the Coast Guard. And guess what? From Victor and Adriana came Alex and Dee Dee. They were the exchange link for Victor and Adriana. And now they're SMDs with a ring, right? All because of the system. And now here's the main kicker. Ask yourself this question. When was the last time someone talked to you or knocked on your door and said that they were there to help you with your finances, become debt-free, and plan for retirement? Have you ever had somebody say, hey, I'm here to help you with your finances? No. If you have enough money in the bank, you'll get a cold call, right? But now here's the thing. And if that person did come to your door, could you trust them? Imagine a guy from like TD Ameritrade or Charles Schwab showing up at your door. Would you really trust them with your money? No, right? But in WFG, we show you guys how to leverage your relationship, your trust with your market to help them. That's WFG all day, guys. All day, right? Now, here's the thing. The 10 practice presentations comes from your top 25, right? You get 10 practice presentations. You get 3 to 10 referrals from each presentation. That's 30 to 100 new names and numbers, guys. By the way, you don't know what you're going to get out of those 30 to 100 names and numbers, do you? Yeah. Not unless you call and schedule appointments. Because what if one of those names and numbers was your next, I don't know, Ed Milet, Eric Olson, Guillermo Haro, a Nick Lancaster, a Lupe Marquez, right? A Chris Angel Flores, or an Alex and Didi Cardenas. What if one of those people was there from those referrals? And guess what? If they were on your team, you'd override them the rest of your life. Right? Like Alex and Didi are direct to Nick, right? First generation. That's a 17% override from them and their entire base shop the rest of Nick's career. Right? So if Alex and Didi's base shop does 100,000 base shop points, Nick's basically royalty for expanding his business, $17,000. And all he had to do was build a top 25 and 10 practice presentations. Right? That's all it took. That's all it took. But now, what makes us very different is we just don't look at saving money, do we? We look at everything.
Yep.
So you hear us talk a lot about the total care package. And a lot of people always ask, Matt, what do you mean by that? It's funny, I remember when Ash first came to this office, this is a very similar training he saw, right? So a total care package is combining an IUL, a term LB, and an Everest, okay? Now, I can do a separate talk on it, but you guys start getting into wealthier clients, we can start talking about estate planning, and there are different ways of that. Now you're not just talking about $300 to $400 a month, now you're talking like 10 to 20 to 30 grand a year. You start thinking about, when I show you guys the compensation, you're like, okay, shoot, I need to hurry up and like, get this thing rolling, right? So now, when we talk about, give an example, okay? Let's say you have a client that's 35 years old, earns roughly about 50 grand a year. That's pretty much most of middle America, right? So his total insurable need is 500,000, okay? Now, do you put all 500,000 in IUL?
Nope.
No. Why?
Cost of insurance.
Right.
Won't grow as much cash accumulation, maybe.
Right. Okay, the whole idea, you guys remember how an IUL works to not only your advantage, but to a client's advantage, is getting the lowest face amount possible and just stuffing the crap out of it with a bunch of money. That's how it works, right? Actually, Anthony, do you mind grabbing the whiteboard out of Thomas and Eddie's office for me, please? I'll give you guys a quick snippet, right? So say something like this, a $250,000 IUL, a $250,000 term LV, and a $10,000 Everest. That would probably be something I would do, okay? And the reason I would do it in this manner, and this is how I would explain it to the client, is let's just say the client, he's 35, so in 30 years, the term's gonna fall off. The whole idea is that he's funded the IUL enough that it replaces the term. You guys follow?
Self-insured.
Yeah, basically self-insuring. And the reason why they have the Everest, it pays out in 48 hours, takes care of the immediate need now, in 48 hours, and then the family just has to wait for the rest of the life insurance to come in the next 2 to 3 weeks. You guys follow? Because sometimes you get the question of, okay, so what's my cost of insurance inside of an IUL? Okay. So if any of you guys have done PowerPoints like myself and like Alex, I've actually shared this with Alex before, and
I've done some.
Anissa and Anthony. How I like explaining how an IUL works, and guys, you could probably do this on a napkin if you wanted to, is how they calculate how much the target premiums or the bare minimum to get into an IUL is based on 4 factors: age, sex, health, and coverage amount. Age, sex, health, coverage amount, okay? Now, let's just say for a $250,000 IUL for this gentleman at his age, let's just say it's $200 a month. So that's $2,400 a year. You guys follow? Okay, so this is how I explain it. So here's your IUL. Here's your death benefit of say $250,000. Here's your premium, $200 a month. And this is kind of what Nick has taught me, but I kind of take it and expand it a little bit more. That $200 premium is split 2 ways. You have your cost of insurance and the actual cash value. Your cost of insurance is 20 to 30% based on those 4 factors, okay? Let's just say it's on the higher side, 30%. 30% of 200 is $60. You guys follow? So that means from the $200, that $60 cost of insurance guarantees the family a $250,000 death benefit, regardless. Yes, they might be paying in $200, and that's where like all the little termites kind of give us guff, right? But now at the same time, you also have cash value, so that means the other 140 goes into the cash value that mirrors the S&P 500, and we know it's averaged 8 to 9% over the past 30 years. By the way, that's been proven with numbers. You guys ever heard the saying, numbers don't lie, but people do?
Yeah.
Okay, I could name a few companies that do a lot of lying, right? But I'm not gonna name them, but we already know. Now, the beautiful thing is this is a flexible premium like a 401k. A client can contribute more money. let's just say they decide to put in $400 a month, which, by the way, you want your clients to be saving as much money in here as possible. And I can prove to you with numbers of why it makes more sense. So since the initial 200 covers the cost of insurance, that additional 200 goes here. So instead of working with 140 a month, that could be earning 8 to 9%, why not have 340? You guys follow?
Yes.
Okay, now I'm gonna expand on it a little bit more. Because it has this indexing feature, you have a 0% floor. Yes, because it is indexed, it has a cap of anywhere between 12 and 15%. So that means, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you know you can never lose money and you're always gonna make money. Does your 401k or IRA have that kind of feature built into it? No. Okay. And now how the indexing feature works is, think of it like a staircase. Every single year, there's a gain in the market, you take a step up. Now imagine, who remembers 2008? A lot of us, right? Especially me. My father that year had lost $70,000 in his TSP. But imagine if he had an indexing feature or had his money in IUL, let's just say the market tanked right here, he'd still have his guaranteed floor, would have never lost 1 penny because of market performance, market volatility. As soon as the market rebounded, we would just hop back in. You guys follow?
Yeah.
Now, here's where you really sell it, okay? Let's just say at age 65, you have another $250,000 in the cash value. So that means, let's just say I'm sitting with Ramon. Okay, Ramon, at 65, if something happens to you, your family would inherit the $250,000 that you're already covered for, plus the other $250,000 you've accumulated over time. So that means to your family, Ramon, it's $500,000, 100% tax free. Okay? Now, since a 401k doesn't have a death benefit feature and you had $250,000, how much of that $250,000 actually gets passed on to your family? Do you even know? You guys see how you need to learn how to sell an IUL?
Yeah.
Because if you can't sell it with conviction and why it's much better for the client, that's the reason why you might write it and it'll charge back, right? By the way, if you get a client that can commit to $300+ a month, it's less likely it's gonna charge back. And I'm only speaking from personal experience, right? All my clients that save at least $500, $600, $700 a month, never had a chargeback. Maybe once in 10 years. But all the ones that are like 150, 200, I get a lot more chargebacks. Because they treat it more like a bill versus an actual investment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, now Ramon, if you live a lot longer than expected, this 250, you have access to as supplemental retirement income. Now there's also an added feature, which I do talk to about all my clients. There's something called a living benefit, or what we call long-term care. That means this will also protect you if you suffer from a chronic or critical illness in the future. Right? Have you ever had a family member experience a chronic or critical illness in their later years? Right? She's like, yeah. So this will help insulate or protect your family from that financial burden. I think this is the first time Nick's seen it. At least me explaining it in this way. Right? So think of it this way, Ramon. If you pass away too early, your family's taken care of. You live a lot longer than expected, your family's taken care of. You live a lot longer and you get sick, your family's still taken care of. Now, for you personally, Ramon, what makes more sense? Continuing down the path that you're at right now, or maybe diversifying your portfolio and having an IUL in there?
This.
Okay, great. How much money can you comfortably save every single month towards this? Done. You guys have to realize you have to sell the benefit, sell the value of what an IUL and a term and the Everest can do for the client. Because guess what? A traditional advisor, they ain't talking about this. Primerica ain't talking about this. State Farm ain't talking about this. Farmers ain't talking about this. AAA ain't talking about this. Allstate's not talking about this. I can name a whole bunch of other companies. They ain't doing this. Go ahead, Thomas.
I was gonna say, repeat that last part again, what makes more sense continuing down the path we.
Okay, so what makes more sense, Thomas? Continuing doing what you're doing right now, or adding an IUL to your portfolio? Notice how I said add. I'm not saying completely replace, because he might be getting a match on his 401k. And by the way, you never argue with free money. You guys follow? You never argue with free money. You always want to say, yeah, contribute up to the match. Anything past the match, let's get you to do something like an IUL. Right? And Reggie should probably almost be done. Now, let's talk about this. So let's just say, assuming the target, say $300 a month total. Okay? 300 times 12, that's 3,600 points. If you did 4 total care packages a month, that's 1 client a week, guys. Or just a total of $300 in target premium a week. Either way. It doesn't have to be in this manner, right? Let's say Carlos sits down 1 client, he puts it, his target is $300 a month. He's done for that. Now I wouldn't say stop there, right? You want to keep going.
Yeah.
But imagine 3,600 points a week, 4 weeks, that's 14,400 points. Okay, how many of you guys are training associates? Imagine you did that in a month, that's 4,320. For some people, that's more than their full-time job. How many associates in the room? Okay, so 45%, 6,480. You guys realize if you're making 6,480, that's like almost 75 grand a year. 1099, by the way. So you're gonna keep a majority of your money because you're gonna get a bunch of tax write-offs. Your senior associate like Lupe, 55%, 7,920. Marketing director like myself, 62%, almost 9 grand a month. And a senior marketing director like Nick and Anissa or Alex and Didi or Reggie, it's almost 12 grand a month. If you're making 12 grand a month, that's almost 150 G's a year. Not including bonus pools, not including the overrides, just your personal pen. Making 150 G's a year. I don't know about you guys, I'll take this all day. Right? That's just 1 client a week or $300 in target premium. I can tell you guys right now, depending on your market, if it's $300 total target premium, depending on your market, you probably only have to go on 3 appointments a week. 3, maybe 4, depending on the market. You sit in a market like Alex and Didi, well, that's done in 1 appointment. Imagine if you're on 5 appointments with somebody like Alex and Didi. The 5 of those, that's already what, almost 18,000 points. Basically add in 1 more set in there. That's all it is, right? So now, not only are you helping them save money, you're giving them proper coverage, and you're making sure that they also have an immediate need covered right away, taking away the stress of, oh my God, we're gonna come up with 10 grand to cremate my aunt, my uncle, my brother, my sister, right? You're taking that out of the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. And guess what? When they get that check, or the second check from the other life insurance policies, guess who they're gonna ask what to do with the money? You. Now I'm gonna say something like Nick said. 10 years, I haven't had to do 1 death claim yet. My life insurance for me. Right? Right? But you guys have to realize, traditional advisors, they're not talking about this. Right? Okay, so Reggie's still going, okay, he's probably got 10 more minutes. Okay, can I give you guys a little extra?
Yes.
Okay, how many of you guys understand Social Security? Okay, Okay, nobody else except for probably me and me. Okay, here, I'm gonna give you guys some nuggets. Okay, I'm gonna give you one big fat nugget. Okay, during retirement, when you start claiming Social Security, you have to stay under making $32,000 in provisional income. What I mean by provisional income is other income sources while you're retired. So like, let's just say you're working a part-time job. Is it 17 now? I don't know, the book I'm reading, it's 32. Well, I'm almost there. You're jumping ahead of me. Okay? If you take in less than $32,000 a year during retirement, whether it's wages and other income sources, your Social Security stays 100% tax-free. You're gonna wanna write this down. If you take in more than $32,000 but less than $44,000 a year, up to 50% of your Social Security is taxable. So if you're getting 10 grand a year, 5 grand of it can be taxed at your current tax rate. By the way, do taxes go up or do they go down?
No.
So potentially, you're gonna be in a higher tax bracket, or for sure, in all honesty. You take any more than $44,000 a year in provisional income, 85% of your Social Security is taxable.
Insane.
Okay? Now can you imagine, most people are like, dude, I can't live off of 32 grand a year. Imagine having that conversation. They're gonna ask you, so what the hell do I do? Right? And I think it sounds like Reggie's done. Okay. Now here's the thing. I'm gonna end with that. If you guys wanna know a little caveat to how to get, how to catch the attention of more people, people are saving too much money in 401ks. Remember the whole $1 million question? Okay. They have R&Ds, required minimum withdrawal. As an example, Alex and Dee are married, their standard deduction is $24,000. But if they have too much money in a 401k and they have to take an R&D, if their R&D is more than $24,000, they're paying additional taxes. Imagine if you could learn how to teach a client how to save the right amount of money into a 401k where their R&D is only gonna be $24,000, it's a wash. 0% tax bracket. So guess where else you wanna put money? Into an IUL, right? So just imagine that, learning how to make sure to properly plan for the client and them loving you because you can literally keep them in a 0% tax bracket. Hence why that book is so important. So, if you guys want to talk to me about that, I can give you more specifics, but with that being said, appreciate you guys, love you guys, and let's have a great rest of the week.